Well, let's talk to the presidential historian, Dr. Laura Smith. Laura, hello to you. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure you've seen it. Everybody's seen it. This mugshot, the first one taken of a former US president, and already an iconic image.
Absolutely. This really will go down in history books as a mugshot seen around the world.
Certainly will, and there's potentially more pictures to come as well. Just take us through the next stages, which is the arraignment in Georgia.
Absolutely. So we have the arraignment in Georgia, and Georgia, considering the fact that obviously Donald Trump is facing four cases right now. 2 are state and 2 are federal. So there are different sort of quirks of the American system of federalism here. 2 of the charges he's facing are to do with while he's in office. There's obviously the federal case in Washington, D.C. about January 6th, and there's a case in Georgia. The difference is that Georgia, being a state case, they normally do allow cameras in the courtroom in a way that the federal courts do not and have never and are unlikely to. So the anticipation is that for the first time, we will see Donald Trump arraigned live on camera.
And in your role as a historian, you can tell us that this wouldn't potentially, and we're obviously a very long way away from that, but it is perfectly possible for somebody to run for office in prison, because it's happened not once but twice.
Absolutely. It happened within a 70-year span twice. So the first time was in 1920, Eugene Debs. He was a socialist. He ran 5 times for the presidency, and he ran from as a prisoner. He was actually campaigning as prisoner 9653. That again is part of his campaign. The highest he got was really 6% of the vote, but he was in prison for violating the Sedition Act, part of the Espionage Act, speaking out against World War I at the time. Very different circumstances in 1992, where you have a man sort of infamous called Lyndon LaRoche. Lyndon LaRoche had ran 8 times, so again, another prolific presidential campaigner, another third-party candidate. He ran 8 times between 1976, 2004. He was in jail for 5 years. He was convicted 15, only served 5, for tax and mail fraud. He had really sort of built his supporters out of a lot of money to enrich himself. Again, he only got 0.02% of the vote, but he is someone who is interesting in the sense that he really was a conspiracist before that became popularized as we now know today, and is so much part of the hyper-partisanship that we see in America as a continual struggle.
It's fascinating, and so we've got Donald Trump. He's facing 4 indictments, and whether or not he obviously denies all the charges, against 91 charges in total against him, but the calendar is crucial to all this. In your opinion, will any of these cases be heard before that presidential election next year?
I think that the chance that, as you said, we got 4 indictments, we got 91, charges. I think that absolutely you will at least see something. And, even though New York was the first one to come through as an indictment to be charged, I think that you've seen these sort of prosecutors keen to work with each other when it comes to the calendar. So you could see changes in terms of which case comes first in terms of priorities. Each case has its own complications as well. Take the documents case in Florida. Okay. You've got a lot of sensitive material.
Dr. Laura Smith, it's lovely to have a bit of a history lesson. Absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay with us here on BBC News.